Caitlin has brought a ton of new opportunity, a ton of new eyeballs, and more money to the sport. So instead of downplaying the magnitude of who she is and what she's brought, enjoy the ride and take advantage of the ride.
Rather than celebrating her victory as the Times Athlete of the Year, Caitlin Clark is currently dealing with a barrage of unanticipated criticism you won't believe who is standing up for her, and it's not the person you expected. Get ready for a story that will make you reevaluate everything you believed to be true about women's basketball. NBA champions are coming to Clark's defense, and their comments are blazing the internet. But here's the real shocker. Where is the WNBA in all of this?
Man, first of all, she's unbelievable talent. You know, the things that she's doing is great in her own right. She's creating her own space, she's doing her own thing.
Before we dive right into our NBA tournament discussion, let's briefly review some background. Just when we believed that Caitlin Clark's tenure as an Athlete of the Year would be a given for women's basketball, an unexpected critic surfaced from within the league's own ranks. In a CNN interview, Sheila Johnson, a titan in the business world and co-owner of the Washington Mystics, left fans perplexed.
Take a second right now to have a moment of silence for Washington Mystics owner Sheila Johnson, who suggested that the WNBA as a whole should have been on the cover of Time magazine instead of just Caitlin Clark, who graced the cover last week, which is probably some of the stupidest I've ever heard.
Johnson maintained that the honor should go to the whole WNBA. She seemed to be downplaying the Iowa Stars' great influence when she said, "When you just keep singling out one player, it creates hard feelings." But this is where things get ugly. Johnson's remarks touched on the delicate subject of race in sports acknowledgement. She voiced worry about players of color, who, in her opinion, are just as good but sometimes ignored. "I feel terrible about it," Johnson said.
It's just the structure or the way media plays out race. I'm going to be very honest. I feel really bad because I've seen so many players of color that are equally as talented, and they never got the recognition that they should have. And I think right now, it is time for that to happen.
However, let's examine the facts. Since this debate develops, it's difficult to overlook the good impact Clark has had on women's basketball's popularity, since her games have been shattering attendance records left and right, and the hype surrounding her has increased the sport's viewership. Unexpected voices are speaking up to protect Clark, and I promise you won't believe who is saving her. The NBA champions will soon join the conversation, and will have some harsh criticism for Clark's detractors.
While the NBA's ratings continue to drop over 30%, as they try to figure out who is going to fill the shoes of LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry, the WNBA has a golden goose sitting in their league and it's gotten better, but has done everything to kind of discredit the momentum and eyeballs she's brought to this game.
When NBA legends Matt Barnes and Trevor Ariza speak up, you've heard the critics now meet the defenders. But what could two seasoned pros possibly have to say about a collegiate phenom who is now a WNBA rookie? Their remarks are set to shock the basketball world.
Over 31% of the Mystics' entire attendance was in 2 games the Caitlin team played against the Mystics. The Sparks, the Aces, the Mystics, the Dream all moved games when Fever came in town because of the attention that Caitlin and her teammates have drawn that last season. Fever's jersey sales was up 1,000% and attendance was up 250%. And they had the largest attendance on average per year, just over 17,000 per game.
A former NBA player with a championship ring, Matt Barnes, is sharing some harsh facts about Caitlin Clark in the WNBA on his podcast, in addition to discussing basketball. Barnes didn't hold back.
Let me say this, Caitlin Clark deserves all the flowers. I think she took a lot of and a lot of skeptics coming into the league, as she should. Like, she had to really prove herself. Missed out on the Olympic opportunity, and really had a lot of hard knocks early on in the season where she was getting beat up and her teammates were just watching her. I think the camaraderie in that locker room grew and that team started playing together and made the playoffs. made a nice little run, and had a solid season.
However, Barnes didn't stop there. He took aim at the WNBA directly, criticizing the league for what he believes to be a significant lost chance.
So Caitlin is someone who has, if you look at it, done everything you're supposed to do, and has been criticized along every step of the way. Again, she's damned if she does, and she's damned if she doesn't.
It's a daring statement from an NBA veteran essentially accusing the WNBA of fumbling what could be a game-changing moment for women's basketball. Barnes claims that the WNBA has a golden goose in Clark, but instead of embracing her star power, they've done everything to kind of discredit the momentum and eyeballs she brought to this game.
I think they're doing an amazing job with, like you said, telling the story. And the players are actually doing their thing when they get there,
yes,
too. You know, like you mentioned, these couple of players. But Caitlin being the one that we're speaking about right now, she is kicking everybody's ass, really.
However, Barnes is not the only one who supports Clark. Another NBA winner, Trevor Arza, has joined the discussion in support of Barnes's viewpoint. Arza believes Clark has a unique impact and compares it to that of great players. Like Larry Bird, her ability to captivate audiences and win over new fans to the sport is just as important as her abilities on the court.
If we had to compare from what we've seen from the NBA, it would, in her effect, probably something similar to Larry Bird.
It is impossible to overestimate the importance of these NBA players standing up for Clark. They are not just any players. They are champions and well-respected voices in the basketball world. When they speak, both fans and industry insiders listen, and their support highlights the discrepancy between Clark's popularity and the criticism she is receiving from her own league. Barnes brought this point home by emphasizing how important Clark's accomplishments were historically.
When you see the people say it's not just her, there's other players, and again, we're not distracted. We understand that the depth of talent in that league, but when you also see the numbers that back up the fact that Caitlin has a huge effect. Caitlin Clark is responsible for nearly 27% of the WNBA's league-wide activity in 2024, including attendance. 1 in 6 tickets sold at the WNBA arena attributed to Caitlin Clark. TV viewership was up 30%. TV viewership was up 300% with Caitlin Clark.
It's an obvious message. Clark benefits women's basketball overall in addition to herself and her squad. This surprising partnership between NBA champions and a WNBA phenomenon is changing. The story these NBA players are posing more significant queries regarding how women's basketball markets its stars, and if the WNBA is making the most of Clark's enthusiasm for the game, going beyond Clark's individual accomplishments and the controversy surrounding her time as an Athlete of the Year.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You know, they continue to push the game to the next level, you know, and you look at where the NBA was and now where the NBA is at now. And although everyone doesn't agree with the style of play, these guys have taken it to the next level as far as the business of basketball. Right. And I think that's what Caitlin will affect, is the business of women's basketball, man. So we wish them the best. Definitely excited to see these upcoming seasons and these women continue to do their thing.
Conversations are starting as a result of Barnes and ARA's remarks. If you've watched this far and are enjoying the video, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We understand that watching this video takes up some of your time, and we appreciate it. Now, let's get back to the action. Beyond just Clark's skills on the court, they're encouraging people to consider the broader implications for women's sports, athlete marketability, and the future of the WNBA, but this is just the beginning. Another respected voice from the NBA world is about to weigh in, and his viewpoint could completely change everything.
Congratulations to Caitlin Clark for being named Time Athlete of the Year. I get why people are so upset. I'm a basketball player and a basketball fan. There's a lot of dynamics and a lot of layers to this thing when it deals with Caitlin Clark. But I will say that this is just my opinion. It's certain people, I don't care if you're black, white, Spanish, from Europe, it doesn't matter, that have it, that draw something, okay? And Caitlin is one of those.
Prepare yourself, because Jim Jackson, a former NBA player who is now an analyst, is entering the fray with his own perspective on Clark's influence. His insights are set to give this discussion a completely new angle as it delves deeply into the nuances of marketability in women's basketball.
People, keep in mind, this is a business. When Nike signs a athlete, okay, they want to get an ROI, return on their investment. How do they do that? Because that athlete resonates. You understand that Caitlin Clark, her jerseys, her apparel, if she has an apparel deal, her shoes will sell.
Jim Jackson is rewriting the dialogue rather than merely contributing his voice. The sports marketing playbook. What if our understanding of star power in women's basketball is incorrect? Caitlin's analysis by Jackson Beyond the Court. Clark's influence challenges the fundamental assumptions of how we view WNBA athletes. Jackson, a basketball commentator who was once an NBA player, offers a distinct viewpoint since he is focusing on Clark's marketability in addition to her skill set, and what he observes is revolutionary. Jackson says that Clark's attraction is similar to that of NBA great Steph Curry.
It's the reason why Steph Curry, who may not be the best player, okay, in the NBA, but he draws differently. He draws different. He can be marketed differently than other players. It's some players who may be considered better, maybe a Kevin Durant. But the market, to market Kevin Durant is a lot different than marketing Steph Curry. People resonate with Steph Curry a lot more than a KD. Now, that may be KD's personality, okay? He doesn't really care. I'm just using KD as an...
However, this is where things become intriguing. Jackson doesn't sugarcoat the difficult subjects, pointing out that even though A'ja Wilson is perhaps the finest WNBA player, Clark is more marketable than her. Jackson explains why.
Caitlin may not beat... A'ja Wilson is the best player in the WNBA. But Caitlin is more marketable because people tend to resonate. I don't care, black, white, whatever it may be. And now there is a race component to it. It always will be in some regards, okay? But the player itself, the person, what she was able to do, how she resonated, how she drew eyes to the TV. I don't agree with the Mystics owner saying that the whole WNBA should have been named up, because that's not true. The whole WNBA benefited this year from the viewership increase.
It's a strong claim, but Jackson supports it by emphasizing how Clark's influence extends beyond her ethnicity or style of play. Rather, it stems from her capacity to attract viewers to the TV in order to generate excitement and sell items. Caitlin Clark's underwear, her clothing will be sold. The increasing demand for Clark's equipment is indicated by Jackson's notes.
There's some other players that get deals, men and women, okay, that have signature shoes that despite how good they are as a player, great as they are as a player, they don't move product because it doesn't resonate. It doesn't translate.
This goes beyond the popularity of a single player. The WNBA's marketing strategy will be greatly impacted by Jackson's analysis, which basically tells the league that they are sitting on a gold mine from a marketing standpoint. Was it Jackson states, Caitlin Clark? It serves as a wake-up call for a league that has been having trouble expanding its viewership.
Translates is when Caitlin Clark came into the league and 30,000 jerseys were already ordered. That the Indiana Fever, the season tickets were already sold out. When you go on the road to the Mystics and they have to change the venue in which it's going to be played to play, you know, where the Wizards play, okay, on a couple of occasions. It's only certain people that do that. Whether you like Caitlin or not, are you interested? If you're a ball player, there's certain aspects you got to love about Caitlin's game.
As Jackson's analysis spreads, it's igniting a vital conversation about the future of women's basketball and forcing us to face uncomfortable truths about marketability and the economics of sports. But more importantly, it's highlighting a glaring issue: the lack of vocal support for Clark from within the WNBA itself. Jackson's words are a rallying cry for the WNBA to embrace Clark's popularity. He's showing them a way forward, a way to grow the game by leveraging the star power they already have.
Purely from a basketball perspective and what she brought to the WNBA, along with Angel Reese and the other players who, I think in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, from a marketing perspective, have really added so much value to where they're going, hence they signed a new TV deal.
A whole new can of worms in this ongoing debate is about to be revealed. Why do former NBA players seem more willing to support and defend Clark than her own league? Imagine a league where B stars are left hanging while outsiders rush to her defense. That's the strange reality. The WNBA's quiet about Caitlin Clark's Time Athlete of the Year award is deafening, especially when contrasted with the vocal support of NBA champions. Let's analyze this down. Matt Barnes and Trevor Arza, NBA champions who have no interest in women's basketball, are praising her and calling her a game changer and a once-in-a-generation talent. But where is the WNBA in all of this?
The idea of some players being jealous, yes, that probably exists. Okay. To me, yeah, jealous, sure. I mean, would you be jealous of somebody that got $28 million a shoe deal or whatever the deal is before you step foot in the pros?
You may be wondering if they are simply being cautious, but the WNBA has a history of energizing its rookies. Take the fanfare around Diana Taurasi, for example, or the time they laid out the red carpet for Brittany Griner. The league is adept at marketing its stars when it wants to, and let's face it, CL is drawing crowds to the game, packing arenas, and igniting interest in women's basketball in a way that hasn't been seen before. Jim Jackson was spot on when he compared Clark's marketability to Steph Curry's, and the numbers support his claims. Clark's jerseys are selling very quickly. Ratings for television, the WNBA is sitting on a gold mine when Spike plays, but for whatever reason, they're not excavating.
You know well enough that in 1984, when Michael Jordan came into the NBA, the ratings in the NBA were not great. Chicago Stadium was, a third full. He's getting the lion's share of the attention. The games are now all of his games are on TV. And he just was a polarizing figure. And Tiger Woods was like that when he went to the PGA as well. He changed the total economics of golf the same way Michael Jordan changed the financial economics of the NBA.
This isn't just about Clark, though. It's also about the WNBA's future. The league has an opportunity to capitalize on this excitement to increase its fan base and land bigger TV deals, but instead they're allowing others to steer the conversation without considering the long-term effects. We need to ask what the endgame is here. Is the WNBA hoping that this will all blow over, or are they missing a crucial opportunity to elevate the entire league? One thing is certain, though. The clock is ticking and the balls are in their court. What message does this send to future stars, fans, and sponsors? The WNBA risks alienating not just Clark, but an entire generation of players and supporters. The path of Caitlin Clark from college superstar to WNBA, even though she won the Times Athlete of the Year title, Phenom has been everything but smooth. She has received unanticipated criticism from her own league, but here's the twist. NBA champions are standing up for her, while the WNBA remains strangely silent. This whole situation highlights the deeper problems in women's basketball. It's not just about one player or one award. It's about how we value and support our athletes. The WNBA has a great opportunity here. Instead of ignoring a rising star who is attracting new fans to the game, they should be supporting her and all of their talented players. Do you agree? If so, please let us know in the comments, like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you don't miss a thing. We'll see you in the next one. Click the video on the screen.